Have you ever looked back on something that almost happened and thought, thank God I didn't go through with that? Maybe it was a relationship that felt magnetic, but something in your gut said not this one. Or a job you nearly took, only to later hear it turned into a mess for everyone who stayed. Or maybe it was just a random night where you were supposed to go out, but a flat tire or a weird feeling kept you home, and something wild went down that you avoided completely. Comment 1. If you have ever had a near miss that later felt like a blessing. Comment 2. If you rarely notice those small nudges and usually chalk them up to luck or chance. At the time, it didn't feel like protection. It felt annoying, frustrating, even unfair. But now it feels like something had your back, like a quiet force was nudging you out of harm's way, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. Carl Jung called this kind of thing synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence that connects our inner world with the outer one. He believed that life isn't just a series of random events, but that our unconscious mind is deeply connected to a greater pattern, and sometimes that pattern seems to whisper, wait, not yet, not this way. It doesn't shout, it doesn't slam doors. It slips in softly, like a whisper inside your ribs, like a pause in your breath. In the moment, you feel abandoned by life. You realize much later you were actually being held. You might not have noticed it in the moment. Protection often hides itself in inconvenience, in pauses, in gut feelings you can't explain. But later, sometimes much later, it all makes sense. What you thought was a setback was actually a save. What you thought was silence was really signal. This isn't about being spiritual or needing to believe in angels. It's about noticing the subtle ways you're being carried, guided, and yes, protected. Even when you don't ask for it, even when you try to go the wrong way. Because here's the truth. You're not just lucky. You're looked after. You've been guided more than you know. If you're watching this, chances are you've already felt it. Notice the near misses, the gut feelings, the small voice that doesn't shout, but somehow always knows. And if you've ever wondered, what is that? This might give you language for something your soul already understands. This isn't about blind faith. It's about pattern recognition. When you start seeing how often you were gently steered away from damage toward growth, you stop brushing it off as coincidence. You start to realize, I'm not alone in this. Something is walking with me. This article will name 5 real signs that you're being protected. Not magically, not superstitiously, but soulfully. Each one is subtle, quiet, easy to miss. But once you see them, you can't unsee them. And you begin to trust life a little more, yourself a little more. Let's name what's been there all along. Sign 1. Silent interventions. You didn't get the job. The text never came. You missed the train. The plan fell through, and it stung. But weeks, or even years later, you look back and whisper, oh, thank God. We don't always recognize protection in real time. It doesn't arrive with fanfare. No flashing lights, No dramatic rescues, just an odd pause, a delay, a gut feeling that stops you mid-sentence. Something doesn't flow, doesn't open, doesn't let you proceed. You feel like you've been held back. And you're right. These are what we call silent interventions. Moments when life reroutes you quietly. You're not yanked out of danger, you're nudged. Almost like a hand on your shoulder. Soft, but firm. Guiding you away from something your mind may have wanted but your soul didn't need. Comment 1 if you've missed an opportunity that later turned out to be a hidden save. Comment 2 if you still feel those pauses are just bad timing or missed chances. It's subtle. So subtle that if you're not paying attention, you might chalk it up to bad luck or missed chances. But then time passes, and what once felt like rejection starts to look like redirection. The person you wanted to stay with reveals a side of themselves you never saw coming. The opportunity you chased turns out to be a mess. And you realize, something saved me from myself. Maybe it was your own soul refusing to betray itself. Maybe it was something greater, walking just one step ahead of you, blocking the roads that would have broken you. What felt like rejection was actually a shield. What felt like emptiness was protection, wearing silence. There's a certain intelligence in these moments, not the brain's logic, something deeper, older. A kind of internal wisdom that doesn't argue or explain. It just moves. And if you ignore it, you'll feel it. You'll know when you've overridden it. There's a particular kind of unease that sets in when you've gone against that quiet no. These interventions are rarely dramatic. That's what makes them sacred. They show up in the in-between, in the slowdowns, in the doors that mysteriously won't open no matter how hard you push. And eventually, you stop taking that resistance personally. You start to respect it, because not getting what you wanted, that might have been the clearest yes of your life. Sign 2, uncaused calm. You're in the middle of something heavy. The news was bad. The money's tight. The relationship's shaking. And yet, there it is. A quiet stillness inside you that makes no sense. You're not numb. You're not in denial. You're just calm. Not because things are okay, but because you are. This kind of peace doesn't come from logic. You didn't talk yourself into it. You didn't force positive thoughts or slap affirmations over pain. It simply arrived like a hand on your chest, like something whispering, just breathe, you're held, this will pass. It's not the calm of having a plan. It's not the calm of being in control. It's something else entirely. Something that shows up when you should be falling apart, but aren't. And maybe the people around you don't get it. Maybe you don't even get it. But deep down, you know, I'm not alone in this. This kind of peace is its own kind of proof. Because it's not manufactured, it's given. It comes when you stop fighting life and start letting something deeper take the wheel. That doesn't mean you give up. It means you stop thrashing. You stop running. You meet the moment instead of escaping it. And somehow, that's where the calm lives. Sometimes it arrives before the storm even hits. A strange stillness, like something inside you already knows what's coming and knows you'll survive it. Like your soul is already on the other side, whispering back in time, "You're going to be okay." You can't force this kind of peace, but you can recognize it when it shows up. And when it does, trust it. Lean into it. Let it hold you. Because even if nothing outside you has changed, that unshakable calm means something inside you has. And that's protection too. You don't create this calm. It arrives like a blanket of light settling over a storm, like a hand resting on your chest from a world you can't see. And in that impossible stillness, your tears finally fall, not from despair, but from relief, because in that quiet, you know, I am not alone. Sign 3. External signs, synchronicities. You think of someone and they text. You hear the same phrase from 3 different people in one day. You're scrolling, and a post says exactly what your heart's been wrestling with, word for word. You pause. Not scared, just alert. Like life is tapping your shoulder and saying, "Look, pay attention." These are synchronicities. When the outside world mirrors your inner one, Carl Jung described them as meaningful coincidences, events that connect mind and matter in a way logic can't explain. They don't cause anything, but they point, they echo, they confirm what your gut already knew. Maybe it's a number you keep seeing, a song lyric that hits too close, a stranger saying the exact thing you are afraid to admit to yourself. These moments don't come to give you answers. They come to remind you that you already have them. Sometimes it's not even about what's said. Sometimes it's the timing, the way something lands right when you need it. Not before, not after. Right on time, and you realize, I am not lost. I'm being guided. I'm being mirrored. I'm not walking blind. I'm in rhythm with something deeper. And yes, sometimes the message is silence. Nothing happens. No sign. No voice. No clue. But even that can be a message. When you're in alignment, silence doesn't feel like emptiness. It feels like trust, like space being cleared, like the universe knows you're solid enough not to need constant confirmation. You don't have to chase these signs. They show up when needed. They're not tricks or magic. They're reflections, like ripples in the world responding to the quiet movements of your soul. It feels almost like the universe has its own language, and your soul is the only translator. A butterfly crossing your path, a phrase that echoes your secret prayer, a number repeating like a heartbeat. It's as if creation itself bends slightly, just to remind you, I see you, I'm here. And once you start noticing them, it's hard to unsee them. Because the truth is, life's been speaking to you in your second language all along. Sign 4. Intuition as compass. You can't explain it. You just know. That person isn't for you. That offer isn't right. That trip isn't safe. No proof. No logic. Just a signal in your body that says no. And sometimes It's the opposite. An unexpected yes. A feeling of click, of flow, of ease. You meet someone and feel instantly at home. You say yes to something that scares you, but the fear feels clean, not chaotic. This is your intuition. Comment 1 if your gut has steered you away from trouble more than once. Comment 2 if you struggle to tell the difference between intuition and worry. Not fear, not trauma, not overthinking. It's the quiet intelligence of your nervous system. A knowing that lives in the body, not the mind. And it's not loud. It doesn't shout or justify. It doesn't beg you to listen. It just waits, like a compass, steady and still, while you whirl around trying to make sense of things. Intuition doesn't always make you comfortable, but it always tells the truth. It's the part of you that picks up on energy before words. It notices shifts in tone, body language, timing. It doesn't need a backstory to sense what's off. And when you learn to trust it, you stop betraying yourself. Because that's what ignoring your gut really is. Self-betrayal. And here's what's wild. When you start honoring your intuition, your life starts to protect itself. You leave earlier. You speak up sooner. You walk away before it breaks you. You feel less guilty for needing peace. You don't explain your no anymore. You don't beg for clarity. You just feel what's right and move accordingly. You start to trust your own radar, and that's freedom. So, if you've been told you're too sensitive or overreacting, maybe you weren't. Maybe you were picking up on something real, long before it showed up on the surface. That's not paranoia. That's protection. Your gut isn't just instinct. It's the echo of something wiser within you. The ancient self that sees before your eyes can. Every time you obey it, you feel a strange ease, as if your soul itself whispers, "Thank you for not betraying us again." That gratitude shakes you because you realize you are both the guided and the guardian. Sign 5. An open heart after pain. After all you've been through, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the betrayals, you should be colder by now. Harder. Closed off. But you're not. You still care. Still feel deeply. Still love fully. You still cry at things that matter. You still root for people. You still get your hopes up, even if you've been let down before. That tenderness, that is protection. Because life will bruise you. People will hurt you. And the natural defense is to shut down, to armor up, to build walls so high no one can touch you. But some part of you refused. Some part of you kept the heart soft. It doesn't mean you're naive. It means you're brave. Carl Jung once said, "Only the wounded physician heals." Your softness is strength forged through pain, and the fact that you can still feel, still choose compassion, still stay open, that means the pain didn't rot you from the inside. It means your soul stayed intact. Being protected doesn't mean nothing bad happened. It means you didn't lose yourself in what did. You didn't become bitter. You didn't let anger calcify into cruelty. You didn't stop believing in good things. That's not weakness. That's evidence of something sacred watching over you. Something that let you bend, but not break. You still say, "I love you," and mean it. You still laugh like you didn't cry last week. You still try. And in a world that constantly pushes people to harden, trying again is a holy act. So if you're wondering whether you've really been protected, look at your heart. If it's still open, still tender, still yours, that's your sign. The miracle isn't that you survived the pain, it's that you survived without losing your tenderness. In a world that hardens hearts, yours still beats soft. That softness is holy. It is proof that some unseen hand carried you through the fire, not to burn, but to be refined. You are still open, still gentle, still alive to love. And that is sacred protection. You were never just lucky. You were always being shaped. By now, maybe something in you feels less alone. Not because your life's been painless. It hasn't. But because the pain didn't get the final word. Because something helped you carry it. Maybe you've started to see a pattern. Not perfection, not control, but care. Care that doesn't always look like comfort. Care that sometimes shows up as a pause, a no, a detour, a delayed message. Care that says, you don't have to understand this yet. Just trust that you're being kept upright, even in the fall. Carl Jung called the journey of the soul individuation, becoming who you truly are by integrating everything. The light, the shadow, the mess, the magic, and these signs, these moments of protection, they're not random gifts. They're part of that journey. They're the way your deeper self protects the path forward before you even know where it leads. You're not here because you figured it all out. You're here because somehow you kept going. Because something steadier than fear kept whispering, stay soft, keep walking. And that presence, the one you used to doubt, isn't separate from you. It is you, the deeper you, the wiser you, the part that's been holding the map while you stumble forward. You are never walking alone. You are walking with you, and something greater holding the edges. You are held, even when you forget. So maybe it's time to stop calling it luck. Stop calling it coincidence. Stop brushing off the moments that saved you just because they didn't come with lightning bolts or clear explanations. Something has been with you, quietly, faithfully, through every near miss, every delayed decision, every gut feeling you couldn't explain. Not because you earned it, not because you were perfect, but because you were meant to keep going. And no, this presence doesn't erase pain. It doesn't promise safety from all harm or heartbreak. What it offers is presence, a steady, subtle force that won't let you be destroyed by what you go through. Jung understood that life is not about avoiding suffering. It's about becoming whole through it. The signs of protection you've felt aren't just about keeping you from danger. They're about keeping you in alignment with who you really are. They're about preserving the thread of your soul so it doesn't get lost in the noise. So when you feel the pause, the calm, the quiet knowing, honor it. When you see the signs, the nudges, the echoes, pay attention. And when you feel like maybe, just maybe, you're being looked after, you are. This isn't superstition. It's not wishful thinking. It's recognition, and the more you trust it, the stronger it gets. The guidance sharpens, the protection deepens, and you stop needing constant signs because you become the sign for yourself and for others. So if this hits something in you, that's not random either. It's because you're ready to stop second guessing the quiet wisdom you carry, ready to walk more gently, more openly, more in tune with the presence that's been with you all along. Let it hold you. Let it guide you. And someday, without even trying, you'll be that same quiet protection for someone else. As Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Every pause, every calm, every sign, every inner nudge, none of them were random. They were threads, weaving you back to yourself. What carried you was never outside of you, but something larger moving through you, shaping you quietly. And when you look back, trembling, you see the truth. You were never just surviving. You were being guided, and you, dear soul, are well on your way. Comment 1. If you're still soft-hearted after pain and believe that shows protection. Comment 2. If you find it easier to keep your heart guarded after being hurt.